As a fan of cozy games and a game dev, I have wanted to make a cozy game for a long time. It is something that I have made several attempts at, and what I've learned from this, at least for myself and my preferences, is that I don't like cozy games that are just cozy games. I feel like cozy doesn't really work as a genre, at least for me. It's more of a subgenre, and that a game has to have an other, more dominant genre that determines the key gameplay. And cozy is just kind of a meta that says, what are the consequences of what we're doing here? And is there time pressure? Is it severe time pressure? Can we relax a little bit? Is this cute? Is this comfortable? Does being in this environment relax me? For instance, Stardew Valley, right? It's an RPG, it's a farming sim, it's a life sim, it's a lot of things, but it's also cozy. And the way that it's cozy is that at the end of the day, you don't die ever. You just pass out, and then you wake up at the hospital or back in front of your house, depending on what you do in the game earlier. There's no time pressure. You can't get too hungry and starve to death. You can't fail to pay your bills and game over. There's no game over. There's requirements sometimes, like quests or stuff that maybe the seasons change and you can't plant whatever, or a quest says bring this to me in 2 days. And there's never consequence. It never keeps you from progressing in the game. You can literally do things a year later when the season comes back around, if that's what it takes. It's very relaxed, and there's just no pressure. And so that's what makes it cozy. Also, it's generally cute, and it's got good music and stuff that's calming. It's got some satisfying sound effects and whatever. But what makes it cozy is there's no requirement for doing things in a certain amount of time. In order to progress the game, there's no game over state. And even that alone could make it a super boring game. If I literally just sit here and totally unstrategize and grind, eventually I will win the game. And I've seen people create metagames around Stardew Valley, I'm gonna win the game to whatever milestone, but I'm gonna do it in X amount of time, and create their own artificial time limits, but they don't actually exist in the game. And that aspect of it could make it boring, but the reason that Stardew's not boring is because there's so many elements of RPG and farming sim that are satisfying that the lack of time pressure doesn't bother you. Another game kind of different, when we think about Minecraft, there's, it's a survival game and a crafting game, obviously, and you're exploring the woods, and then at night, monsters come out and they can kill you, and it's game over. You respawn, you lose your experience, you lose your inventory. But then Minecraft also has a creativity mode where there's just no death and you just do whatever and build. And that version is cozy, but to me that's super boring. And I honestly find the proper Minecraft game still generally cozy, because I think that the barrier to get to where enemies aren't really a threat anymore is pretty low. So getting to, okay, I have a cave and I can just wait overnight and then I'm fine and there's no enemies anymore, and I can just make a little house here, and there's challenge if I leave the house, but I don't need to. It's kind of like the home, the resting place concept in games, but with Minecraft, you create that through skill so quickly that it's just everywhere is home. And then it's just about being creative and challenging yourself to find certain resources, and you can fight the Ender Dragon if that's what you want. I've literally never done it. I've played Minecraft so much, and I've gone to the Netherworld like twice, and I just was like, nope, that's not my cozy. I don't want to be there, and I've just not even bothered with the rest of the gameplay because it's just not forced on me, and it doesn't appeal. You could say there's like the things that come out if you haven't slept for a super long time that will just like attack you, like the flying, oh god, what even are those? They're like stingrays, but they're flying and they'll like kill you if you don't sleep for long enough, or like you go long enough without sleeping. But that's still like, it takes so long for those to come out, and if you're indoors they can't bother you, and just generally like getting up bed is pretty easy too. So overall I would say Minecraft is also a cozy game that stays interesting because it has survival elements to it, which is very nice. A game that maybe doesn't have cozy elements is The Sims. I think in The Sims it's definitely possible, like when you start the game you do get what you need to live, but The Sims isn't meant to make it easy to keep your Sims alive. They're not good at taking care of themselves. So in that game, the simulation elements of a life sim make it so you're constantly putting out fires, and that's not cozy. It's satisfying in other ways that I think people who like cozy games would like, because it has, it's Dollhouse, and you get to decide everything about the character's life, and you get to dress them up, and they just do what you say, and that's nice. I'm telling on myself a little bit here, but it's not cozy in the sense of how the game progresses, unless you consider the game to be more than just the life of one sim. If you said that the Sims game is just as long as you're still playing the same save file, then you can't lose. It literally just brings you back into the character creator, and you can make another character if yours dies and you don't have anyone else in the family. It's extremely chill that way. And there's also no win state, just like in some of these other games. There's no point where you have to stop playing because you finished. And that also is pretty cozy. And just kind of deciding, I don't want to leave yet. I'm not done. And not feeling like there was an end state that you have to get out. I like that. I would also say Pokemon is a cozy game. I'm literally just listing like every game I like at this point. But if you think of like any of the Pokemon games, you have a challenge, you're battling, but there's so much flexibility. There's no time limits. Some of the newer games introduce things like time of day restrictions on when you can do stuff, but as far as I know, there's none that just say like you have 2 days to do this in game, and if you don't do it, then you've lost. Like that just doesn't happen. You could just grind and catch Pokemon in the Viridian Forest for years in game before you go to like the first gym, and it doesn't matter. Like the game will still progress, and it waits for you. I guess the game waits for you. There's no lose state, and there's no win state. That's like, to me, what makes a cozy game, but that's not gameplay. And the gameplay, as I said, comes from other genres combining with it. So with that in mind, I'm gonna keep striving to make games that have cozy elements, and really just focus on making games in general and try and inject the cozy where I can for my own enjoyment, and just recognizing about myself that that's what I like. And honestly, like, I like The Sims a lot, if that wasn't obvious. The little bit of time pressure from taking care of your sim, I think that's great. I think that's a good amount, and like you can pause the game and just like walk away. But like as long as the game's running, there are built-in time pressures to do certain things, to eat, sleep, go to the bathroom. But you can also, like, pretty easily, like I would say in Minecraft, you can get to past the threshold where it no longer is a concern, in newer Sims games. In older Sims games, I don't know that you ever really get to the point where you could just leave it running and they don't die. But in newer Sims games, I would say that's more so the case. So yeah, with that in mind, I'm gonna wrap it here. And I guess, yeah, I hope you like cozy games too. And we can nerd out about them if you want, let me know. Other than that, that's been me. Okay, bye.